Hello and welcome to Frame and Fiber. I am so glad you're here on this rainy day. The rain kind of interrupted my weekend plans. I wanted to plant out my baby seedlings. I got some put in the ground before it started really pouring, but that'll have to wait. The chickens aren't loving the rain either. This is the baby chickens' first rainstorm. There's the big girls hiding under their coop. And the babies are just like, what do we do with this? So part of my plan this weekend was to take care of that tarp over there you see in the background. That is the space where I will have my new garden. And I wanted to lay out the walkways and beds today. But those puddles indicate, nope, not happening. So we are inside, cozy, hanging out. It's a cookie kind of a day, so we'll bake and crochet. So I'm spending some time making some crocheted 8-inch squares that I am making along with a bunch of friends. We are putting together a blanket for a dear friend who is having some medical issues, and so we're making a sweater for her. No, sweater. No, we're not. We're making a blanket for her. And I am crocheting my squares. Hopefully I'll make 3 squares. I'm using yarn that I hand spun, which is the yarn on the left, and on the right is yarn that this group of friends and I did projects together, so it's super special. This hand spun, I also believe I bought with some of my friends as well. So this is, I think the squares have a little bit of love in the yarn and the crocheting. This week I gathered up my daffodil leaves, and pals, am I so excited. I've been anticipating this day since last fall when I made cordage from some daylilies that I gathered. Once the leaves have yellowed and fallen over, I know it's safe to harvest because the bulbs have enough stored energy to use next spring. So I can use them. I'm planning to use them in making more cordage and baskets, and to add to my woven art pieces, and to run a couple of cordage making workshops. I'm cutting the leaves right at the base of the plant, so that way I have nice long leaves to weave with. And oh my gosh, you guys, I have so many leaves to weave with. The pile is enormous, so I have plenty to share in workshops. The leaves laid in those piles for a few days, and here you can see that they've yellowed significantly more. And I am tying them into bundles so that I can hang them to dry. They need a lot of air circulation to not get moldy, and so hanging them is best. I got to hang out with this cute little house wren the entire day. So they'll hang like this for a few days until I know that the weather's going to change, and then I will gather them up and bring them inside to let them continue drying until they're ready to be used, probably a few weeks from now. I'm so excited. I can't wait to share more with you. Picture framing has been keeping me busy. It's springtime here at the Jersey Shore, which means a lot of our seasonal residents are returning to their beach houses, getting them open and ready for entertaining and just using them this summer. And that usually entails stopping at the picture framers to have things reframed or, cleaned or what have you. So there's an uptick in my business, let's say, this time of year. I wanted to show you how long it takes me to clean the glass and the poster before I close something. But when I finished filming this, it was almost 10 minutes of cleaning. I didn't think you'd find that very interesting, so here's just a few seconds. I am stretching this painting. So right here, you can kind of see it. It's the ocean and the sky. Or, yeah, it's the ocean and the sky. And it's bigger than my table. I had to take my mat cutter off of its table and it's over there. It's very big, very big. So I'm stretching it. I'm not going to film me stretching it just because I just need to get this done. But I thought I would show it to you, and I'll show you what it looks like when it's finished. Okay. There she blows. So sorry. I had so many stupid puns running through my head when I was trying to take pictures of this honker beast. Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's huge. It is 52 inches tall, and I think it's like a, what did I say? It's not 90, oh, 96, so it's like 80, about 86 inches wide. It's just crazy town how big that is. It's not really the best painting I've ever seen, but it's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know if I'd want like an 8-foot whale on my wall, but to each his own. I will frame anything. All right, I'm sorry, I'm punchy. Totally like wrecked my hand stapling that because it was just so big. And to stretch canvas onto stretcher bars, you have a tool that you have to like crank. It's just a lot of this, and then with tension. So my hands kind of, I popped I call them popping veins. I have no idea what it is, but like right here, it's a little tender. Anywho, there she is. For all you folks who are not local to me, I know I always tell you that I will frame your stuff for you. I can't ship this to you. So 8-foot whale paintings are off the table for shipping. All right, ciao. Well, hello. Fancy meeting you here. You know by now that I'm the biggest geek. So let's chat a little bit about some of the things that I've been up to other than what you've already seen. Let me grab, of course I left everything way behind the camera. Let me grab them. All right. How are you, friends? Are you well? Are you enjoying spring? Today is Friday, May 20-something. A lot of what you've seen in this video was shot over the past 4 weeks. So I'm not exactly sure when they all started. But anyway, here I am. Here you are. Here we are. Why am I telling you that? Oh, so it is the Friday of Memorial Day weekend here in the States, and I am excited to have a few days off. Before I get into this, maybe I can tell you some of my plans for the weekend. Tomorrow, Saturday, I'm not going to the shop. I'm actually closing the shop because Paul Miller and I are driving out to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to pick up a floor loom, a Cranbrook Countermarch loom. It's 60 inches wide. Well, it weaves 60 inches wide, so it's probably wider than that. It's very big. So I'm going from my little baby rigid heddle, my 25 inch, to a full-blown fancy floor loom. It's going to be at the studio because it will not fit in my house. I guess it could fit in the basement, but I am very excited. I'm a little bit nervous because it's a big jump. But my pieces that I've been working on, I really want to go big. And I mean, this next piece that I can show you, one of my works in progress, is kind of sort of big, but it's still only as wide as my rigid heddle, which is 25 inches. Although the pieces coming off the 25 inches end up being like 18 inches. Anyway, yeah, that's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll be working in the yard. I feel like I haven't done much video here with the garden. I mean, you saw me with my daffodils, and that was a few weeks ago. There's been a big change here in well, there's been a loss of progression as the spring is moving right along, and the yard is much different from the last time you saw it. So I might put in some footage. That might be what's in between the transitions here. I'm not too sure, but I do want to do a tour of the garden. I may have said this to you already. But I think I might do a full tour and put that over on my Page the Farmer channel. So you can stay tuned to that. But I will be in the garden a lot this weekend. That is when I'm not trying to play with my new loom. So that is, I think that's my entire weekend. Gardening and weaving. Well, and casting on. I have a new cast on. So before we get into works in progress, let's take a look at one of my finished objects. I've got a finished object. Isn't it great? Can you see it? Let me switch the view. So there it is. I told you I have really big boobs. And you can definitely tell in the shirt that I have big boobs. However, I don't think it's too tight. So I will wear it. And I mostly wear cardigans anyway. But a linen sleeveless top for the summer I think is so great. So I think in the last video, or the last time I talked about this, I may have mentioned that I had a little bit of a panic because when I tried it on, needles still on, which you guys know it kind of does that weird flare thing when you try it on with the needle still in there. And it was probably right here. And so I tried it on, and Paul Miller looks at it and he's like, "You're never gonna wear that." And I was like, "You're right, I'm never gonna wear this. It's too tight on my boobs. Oh my gosh, what a waste of my time." I contemplated ripping it out and starting it over. And I was like, oh my gosh, no, how many times can you rip something out? Like, just be done with it, give it away if it doesn't fit. So I continued. What I did was, when I got to about here, I had a little bit of a like, ooh, let me add some increases. And so I did. And not a lot of increases. I think I only increased 3 times. So maybe 4 times, so like 16 stitches. So it's not a lot. Maybe 1.5 inches bigger. But I feel like it definitely makes me look thinner here. I'm looking at myself on the camera, and it is funny. It adds 10 pounds because I'm like, oh, you look a little bit thicker. Who cares? So there's the back. Guys, do I have fat back? Does it look okay? I have no idea. I'll see it, I guess, when I videotape. Okay, so let's bring this up so you don't have to be looking at my chest the entire time. But I do want to show you the collar. So I did, after I blocked this, or washed it, and I didn't really block it, I washed and dried it. I decided that I didn't like the way the shoulders were set with the ribbing. It flared, and I don't know if that was because of my pickup rate, like maybe I picked up too many stitches, so that could have been. But I also, anytime I've made something sleeveless, my shoulders, believe it or not, are narrow. I mean, like my boobs, like I think are as wide as my shoulders. They're not, I don't have wide shoulders, and so generally when I wear tank tops, unless they're really thin, they kind of flap over here anyway. So I ripped out the ribbing, and I picked up and did 1 single crochet, and then I did a reverse single crochet. And I think it just finishes it off nicely. I left the ribbing at the neck. Again, I think it's funny, like linen is not forgiving like wool. Like you can see every little like the amount of stitches that are not even. It's amazing what linen does not hide that wool does hide. So you see everything. And so because of that, I don't necessarily love, you know, like I wish I could. I wasn't gonna rip it out, but it's fine. I think it looks fine. I just the you know, the the maker in me, the person like the as a maker always wanting to improve and get better. I would like to improve on this if I do another linen top with a rib top. Let me go back down. Hold on a second. Okay, then we've got my, can you see this? Let's see, how do I show this? Like this. Here we go. The edge. I did not do ribbing here. Well, I did do ribbing and I didn't like the way it looked. And so my friend Tracy suggested that I just do a garter stitch edge. And I loved it. And I did an Icelandic bind off, which just makes it look really pretty. I don't know if would you guys do a garter? No, I think ribbing's better at the collar. Anyway, anything else that I changed? Not really big changes for the pattern. Like I think there's like 0 that I would change about the pattern. I just, again, had my panic that it wasn't going to fit and added increases, which I don't know if it was necessary, but there you have it. Because of the linen, it did feel tighter when it was unwashed. Once I washed and dried it, like it, I mean, it's the drapiest, loveliest. Super excited. Did I say the pattern name? I've said it to you 5,000 times over the past year because I started this either May or June. I think it was June of 2022 for my, what did we call it? It was like a vest along or a tank along. I don't even remember what I called it last year. I'll look it up and I'll put it down here. But it was a knit along, so I never finished. I am very glad that I did. I will, oh, so back to what I was saying about the pattern. It is called the Indurst tee. No, it's not. It's just called Indurst, and it's not a tee, it's a tank. It comes with 2 different collar options. It comes with, which I did, dart options, which you can see. Can you see? I don't have my readers on, so I'm a little bit blurry. So it's somewhere in here are the bust darts. And it comes with either an option for ease or no ease. So yeah, it's, I think, a very versatile, very easily modified pattern for all of our body types. You know, going from a small cast on to a larger, I just think it would be really easy to modify. It's a super simple pattern. I think I'll be casting on pretty soon because I like this so much in wool. I think, again, I like to wear cardigans a lot. And so wearing a shell or a tank in the winter under a cardigan means I'm not going to overheat, but I'll be toasty and I'll be able to take on and off. So I'll be able to just, you know, with fluctuating temperatures, I'll be able to adjust easily. So I definitely want to do a wool. Will I do this in linen again? Maybe. I mean, we'll see how it goes this summer with wearing it, how it wears, because it wasn't written for linen. It was definitely written for wool. So I'll see. And honestly, I feel like if I'm going to knit another linen top, it'll most likely be an Elizabeth Dougherty pattern because I love everything she does. And she has several patterns that she does with linen. So I don't know. We'll see. So here it is. All right, I gotta go to work. I didn't even brush my teeth yet, so I'm really sorry. Oh my gosh, stop. Okay, it's fun. Can you believe I finished it? It only took a year. Oh my gosh. So let's move on to works in progress because that is it for, yeah, that's it for finished objects. I just wanted to show you a quick update on my crochet striped blanket. Did I tell you? I can't remember what I told you last time. I went looking for a project and I found a couple project bags hidden beneath some fabrics and some scrap clothing that I was like piling up to deal with, and they were underneath it. And I found a crochet blanket that I had already started. So now I have 2 going. But this is the one I showed you last time, and I'm a lot further along. I think it's doubled since last time you saw it, because I think when you saw it last, it was here. Yeah. This is such a great project to have on the go. They're 10-gram balls that I'm using. The stripes are approximately anywhere from like 8 to 12 grams, depending on the weight of the yarn. I'm doing that on a 10.5 or a 10. Oh, I'm sorry. No, I'm not. I'm doing, it's on a 6mm crochet hook, which I think is a K, which is a 10. All the stupid numbers and letters. It's a 6mm. Anyway, it depends on the yarn that I'm using, but each stripe is about 10 grams. So I love it. I love having the little scraps. I'm actually running out of DK worsted scraps. Which, well, when I say I'm running out, I'm not running out of DK worsted yarn. I'm just running out of tiny scraps, small scraps. So now I'll bust into some of my bigger scraps, like half skeins, 3/4 skeins, that kind of a thing. So, all right, next is a work in progress. So this is what a couple videos ago, this was the warp that I showed you. Is this the warp? Yes. Yes, I warped my loom with this warp in a video, and I'll link that video down below if you'd like to see it. So I finished this yesterday. No, I finished it on Wednesday. Well, I say finished, I took it off the loom on Wednesday. I haven't done anything since. Like, I still have to weave in some ends. I have to weave in the ends. Oh my gosh. I will have to sew the selvage at both ends. And then I have to mount it onto the stretcher frame that I built. The size of the frame, the overall end result size of this piece is going to be 17 by 60. So this purple is not part of it. That is just my waste yarn, but I thought I'd show you. I did grays and white and cream on this one. How would I do this? It's hard to show big things. Also, because I need to see what you're seeing. So there's a couple really cool spots that I am loving on this. Like, I really love this. So once I mount this to the frame, to the stretcher, it's like the skeleton frame, right? It's not the actual frame. It's what holds this in place in the frame. Okay, how many times can I say the word frame? Anyway, I did a lot of empty space. Like right here, you can just see there's just some color block. And that's because I have a rough sketch of what I wanted to do. And so I'm going to, once it's stretched and tight again, I'm going to go back in and add some stitching. I want to do some, I want to spread some of the weft apart and fill in with some textured yarns. I want to do some sashiko stitching. So yeah. I am really enjoying these weavings. I am going to the MAFA conference in, is it July or is it the end of this month? Oh my gosh, I have so much going on in the next couple months that I get my weekends mixed up. but I believe it's the end of June. Yes, the end of June. I am going to Pennsylvania to the MAFA conference, which is the Mid-Atlantic Fiber Arts Conference. Weaving, spinning, natural dyeing classes and get together. I wouldn't call it a retreat. They don't call it a retreat, but it's sleepover camp. And in our last video, I showed you guys some of the pieces that I was thinking of entering. And thank you, you guys. You're my cheerleaders. And you make me feel so good. And your input and your encouragement is so welcomed and appreciated. I wish I had waited until you all made your comments before I entered into the competition. No, the art show. Did I say that in the beginning of this? That they're putting on an art show and I was submitting. Did I say that? I submitted. But I didn't submit the one that every single one of you, every comment, hands down the unanimous winner, which was the loop-de-loop one. I'll put a picture here. I didn't enter that one. I wish I had waited because your comments were really cool. Like, I liked what you had to say about that one. You said things about it that I didn't even think about, didn't even notice because for whatever reason. So I entered this one and it was accepted. I forget who, one of you, it may have been Natalie. It may have been a couple of you who had in a comment suggested that I enter all three of the natural ones with the iris and the daffodil leaves in there as one piece because it fit within the size. Didn't even think of that. Oh, I would have loved to have done that. Anywho, I entered one little piece, but Anne Choi, who is teaching my class, the class that I'm taking, I think I told you about this last time and I forgot the name. I'm going to look up the name and put it on the screen. I'm hoping to put it on the screen. I have been having major problems with my editing software. Have you noticed in a couple of videos that I would put something on the screen, like a text, and then it just didn't disappear until the video ended? Yeah, that I didn't do that. Something went wonky twice with my software. So we'll see. Hopefully you don't have 5,000, texts through the whole entire video. Sorry. So anyway, Anne Choi, the class that I'm taking with her, she had sent me a note that asked if I would actually bring all of those pieces with me to show in her class. So that's kind of cool. So I will bring the loop-de-loop. It just won't be in the art exhibit. Yay! Okay. I'm sorry I'm being really tangenty and rambly. Let's think. Is that all I want to say about this for now? I think so. I have noticed, it's been a little bit of a conundrum because of the size of these pieces. They're so long. I've had a really hard time figuring out how to share them on social media because of, either Instagram is that square format or if it's a story, it's long this way and most of my pieces are this way. That's not true. I'm hanging this way. Even here on YouTube, right? Like the ratio, like it's really hard to show this. And when I take a full picture, when you're looking at it, you can only see like a vague sense of what it is because you can't get close. So I'm having a hard time sharing this on the socials. I will have that stretched for sure next time we chat and I'll show you. Next. So the last thing I wanted to talk to you about as far as my making goes before I talk to you about a couple of books. Pardon. A few videos ago, I had showed you that I was having a little bit of a conundrum with my swatching that I was doing for the color work for the Watkins cardigan designed by Whitney Hayward. This was the swatch that I showed you, and I don't like it. And Carrie from My Wool Mitten here on YouTube and on the Instagrams, she solved it. So I will be switching. It's a 3 switcher, but it's kind of hard to see. So this plum color is the body. So this blue is going to be the gray. The gray is going to be the green, and then the green is going to be the blue. If I can find the little squiggly drawing I did of the colors, I'll insert a picture of it here, but you get the gist of it. That blue line, it hurt my heart. So I think Carrie's solution is perfect. And so this is my cast on. Can I show you? I love that I'm so backwards. Most people, when they do color work, tighten up and have to go up a needle size. I'm one of those weirdos. See how much bigger these stitches are? I loosen up on color work, so I need to go down a needle size. But I did get gauge with the called for needle, which I can't remember. I think it's a 9 or a 10 US. A 10, a 9, a 10. I'm going to go down to a 9 for this. Anything else? Yeah, so I'm going to cast this on this weekend at some point. Okay, I think that's it with my... Oh, no, it's not. I didn't tell you anything about it. I am using Puffin from Quince & Co., which I think is the called for yarn that Whitney Hayward. I don't know if it's an actual Quince & Co. pattern that they own or if it's a Whitney Hayward pattern. She wrote it. I just don't know who owns it. Anyway, I'm using Puffin. When I was selling off the yarn at the shop, I kept some sweaters quantities of certain yarns so I could play. This is one of them. Speaking of the yarn at the shop, there's not much left. Like it's definitely the size of someone's stash now. But that said, I still have needles and notions and a lot of like sweater quantities left. There's plenty left. I mean, there's more sweaters quantities than a person would have in their stash. But this weekend, for Memorial Day weekend, I'm doing a 50% off sale to try to move some more of it. And I'm doing a 65% off accessories and needles. All the needles except for in my interchangeables, I'm doing 50% off. The fixed needles are all 65% off. So if you want to check that out, that'll be up and running. That sale is today, the 26th of May through the 31st of May. Okay, I bought some books and I wanted to share them with you. I was on thriftbooks.com. I always, actually that's not true. Oh, this one is from Thrift. I like to look at all of the used bookshops on sale and just, on sale online and just type in the word fiber or knitting or wool and see what comes up. And so with the big change in my garden, and I have so much more garden space, I've been joking around with Paul Miller. And I was joking around with Leanne and Liz over at Cocktail Hour at the Coop about growing flax and spinning it and making our own linen. And so I was online and I found The Magic of Linen by Linda Heinrich. Heinrich or Heinrich? I'm not sure how to say it. Flax seed to woven cloth. I got it for $7 and it's pretty cool. There's like a lot of history in here. A couple projects, but it literally goes from how to grow it, how to process it, how to weave it, how to sew it. So I'm excited about this. I spent one morning with a cup of coffee just perusing it. So at first I was like, oh, I probably can't do this because you have to get a special wheel, like a flax wheel, and I don't need to add another piece of equipment to the mix. Although technically I do, because the wheel that I have right now is not mine. So I do need to buy a wheel. Anyway, it's my friend Tracy's wheel. And Tracy, we were talking about this specifically, and I was like, oh, I wish I could do it. Well, she, during the New Jersey Fiber Shed barn crawl last weekend, she went to Frenchtown to the spinnery. Nope, that's not true. She went to the spinnery. That has nothing to do with the barn crawl. Strike that. She went to the spinnery last weekend. I forget why. And she was talking with someone there, and they were like, oh no, you can spin flax on a regular wheel. There's just something you have to do. I can't remember if it's like you have a die staff that's like separate. I don't know. I have to investigate this. If you know anything about spinning flax on a traditional wheel, not a flax wheel, let me know. Let's connect so I can pick your brain. Okay, so that's that book. And then I bought this book, which is funny because now that I have my floor loom, I might not do so much of this. But I bought Crazy Shot. This is Creative Overshot Weaving on a Rigid Heddle Loom by Myra Wood. And this is just, it's a quick overview on how to do it, how to use, I think is she only using pickup sticks? I didn't look through this one yet. I don't know if she's using a couple heddles and pickup sticks or both together. I'm assuming she's doing both. But it has the charts in here. And I thought these would be really cool. Oh, I love this one. I thought this would be really cool to incorporate into some of my pieces. So that, I don't know where I got this. This is a newer book. This was published, I believe it's like only within the last couple years. Watch it be last couple months. I mean, it's super new. Okay, last couple years, so 2021. So that's when that was. So I think I may have gotten that on like maybe Amazon or maybe the Woolery. I can't remember. This was printed in 1992, the year I graduated high school. All right, then my third book, which I believe I actually bought straight from the author's website. This was published in 2022 by Ruth Woods, and it's called Finding Form with Fiber. This book. These two are great. They're very like, procedural and like, kind of like, textbooks. This is pure inspiration. She covers every type of natural fiber that you can process yourself. And she covers different types of weaving. She doesn't cover flat weaving like what we do on looms. This is really all free form. But macrame, and not macrame as in like, let's learn how to do macrame, using macrame techniques to do this kind of stuff. A lot of this random weave, finding these sticks and, making shapes. It's just a great book. I highly recommend this, even if you just want to even if you don't want to weave. and you just want to see how pretty. I mean, it's just beautiful. She goes through the plants, the pictures. It's such a visually pleasing book. And then other materials, she goes into like ropes and twigs and twine, raffia, you know, the coil baskets. Very cool stuff. And I'm just getting so much inspiration out of this book. So that's it. That's all she wrote. Oh my gosh. Stop looking. So yeah, check those books out if you're interested. I will, well, I don't think I can link The Magic of Linen because this, I don't think this, it may be in print. I'm not sure if it's still in print since it was like 30 years ago. 30 years ago. I'm old enough to say that. All right, friends, let's leave it there. I think we've had a lovely chat, a lovely time together, and I hope you're well. I hope you're enjoying the spring. I hope you are making all of the things and learning lots, and I'll see you next time. Bye.